Good afternoon, good evening to everyone who has joined us today. My name is Johnny and I am hosting today's webinar, Attract and Interact, how to drive your customer engagement with Viber. So today our panel will be comprised of Cristina Constandache, who is the Chief Revenue Officer of Rakuten Viber. Charist Montenegro, who is the Country Manager of the Philippines for INFOBIP. Philip Davis, the founder of PROMOTEXTER. Jel Howe, the Sales and Marketing Manager of the Philippines at PROMOTEXTER. And S.A. Kuerbin, who is the Head of Growth and Acquisition for Shipping Cart at QuadX. So the agenda for today. We will firstly be looking at global market trends. We'll then move on to discuss more Viber messaging solutions. We'll look with some of our partners at some success stories from their businesses. And then finally, we will move on to a Q&A section, which is your opportunity to ask us everything and anything. Thank you so much for the people who submitted questions so far. The response has been really great. We will absolutely try and answer as many things as possible. But of course, if you feel that there is something further you need to have answered from us, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us. We're always around to help. So without further ado, I'll move on to hand over the screen to Cristina, who will now present her portion.
Thank you.
Thank you, Johnny. Great having you all at this webinar. I think it's our first webinar that we're doing for Southeast Asia. So we're very pleased to have been accompanied by our key partners in the region. Needless to say, it was a time to do such a webinar because we've been receiving a lot of questions over the past months. Of course, a lot of these questions have been prompted by the crisis of COVID and everything else that happened since then. So we wanted to discuss with you and to show you some of the trends that we had been seeing already for quite some time, even before the COVID, but more importantly, understand how these have been accelerated with the pandemic. So the changes that I was talking about started way before COVID. Of course, we all know that over the past couple of years, there was a change in user behavior and that the majority of consumers expect brands to communicate with them in real time. Not only that, but over the past 10 years, we know that most of us prefer to text somebody, be it a personal contact or a business, rather than making phone calls, which of course led to the rise of messaging apps and to the fact that most of our time is spent today in messaging app to the detriment of even social media. Over the past 4 years, we have noticed that almost 20% more users spend time in messaging apps than in social media, which is something that obviously is very interesting because it means that it opens the opportunity for brands to have new channels that they can use when interacting with their consumers. And last but not least, this is coming from not only the digital e-commerce KPI report, but also from our own studies inside Viber, where we're seeing that a message sent by a brand is typically read within the first 3 minutes. Of a KPI report, it says that 85% of the consumers will read a brand message sent a messaging app. What we're seeing on our side is the speed with which this happens. And last but not least, again, a trend that has been confirmed by internal studies that we've done at Viber with the help of our partners at Comscore as well. Most of the users, majority, over 50% of users, are more likely to buy from a company that they can contact via chat. And why is that? Because, of course, we all expect an immediate answer. We all expect businesses to cater to our needs 24/7. We all expect to be able to contact whoever we want, whenever we want to. And if I were able to change the slides, that would be even better. However, there is a difference in between the perception of a brand and the perception of a client, unfortunately. When you're asking the brands, businesses, most of the businesses, 7 out of 10 businesses, think that they communicate with the customers effectively. However, when you're asking the customers, unfortunately, only 2 out of 10 agree. So there is a bridge to be gapped. There is a distance that needs to be closed. And clearly, there is an opportunity for brands to stand out and to take control of the way that they communicate with their clients. Now, fast forward to 2020, this has been I don't even know how to say it. It has been a very special year so far, not the best year. However, of course, there are changes that have been accelerated with COVID, changes that would have happened probably in 5-10 years' time, and that happened in 5 months. We clearly are seeing this across the board, across all the countries. The communication has changed, and it has changed dramatically because we are facing a new normal that will be the norm even when, let's say, the pandemic will end. You all know it, bricks and mortar shops are subject to lockdown rules, meaning that a lot of the activity has moved online. A lot of businesses had to close the call centers and the agents had to work from home, which means that bots or messaging apps have become the norm when communicating with customers rather than actual phone calls. And anyway, given that the majority of the customers expected to be able to text a business, this goes hand in hand with trends that had appeared before COVID anyway. Data security. Of course, data security has always been important because we need to be in an environment that is secure. But now, when most of us are spending time working from home and doing everything online, it has become crucial because, of course, we are more vulnerable than ever. So as a client and also as a brand, I want to be sure that I'm using the channels that are going to be most secure for my communication. And last but not least, and not surprisingly so, there was a lot of noise. There was a lot of noise when it came to marketing, to advertising messages, to marketing communication in general. And now there is even more noise. Not being able to meet with the customers face-to-face, not being able to provide a real life experience, it means that all of us are bombarded with advertising messages, are bombarded with offers, are all bombarded with emails, ads, everything. So it has become increasingly difficult for both brands and consumers to meet each other in all this environment. This is where the conclusion is coming from, that one-to-one communication now, one-to-one interaction is more essential than ever. It's probably the only way that we can counteract all the effects of a pandemic, of a new normal, and all of the effects of the world that is going more and more digital and is lacking the face-to-face interaction, which ultimately remains extremely important. So this is where we come in. We're introducing a range of messaging solutions that are not new. What is new is the way that they come together to complement the user journey and to complement the goals that the brands might be having. A little bit about Viber, just to give you a little bit of context. We've been around for 10 years now. Actually, this year is our 10-year anniversary, which we will start celebrating pretty soon. And we have a presence worldwide of over 1 billion users, with Asia, and specifically Philippines, Vietnam, and Myanmar being the strongest countries in the region. When we look at the profile of the audience in APAC and in Philippines specifically, and this is a question that we are asked numerous times, we see that the majority of our users, over 70% of our users, are between 25 and 50, which means that it's, of course, the audience that is most active and most engaged when it comes to being able to purchase things, to the power of buying, to the power of spending. And this makes it an extremely interesting environment for brands to be present in. When it comes to gender, I would say that it's almost an even split when it comes to Asia, but when it comes to Philippines specifically, clearly we are better represented within the female audience, which is good because, as we know, we tend to spend a lot more than the men when it comes to shopping online. And of course, when it comes to the device, no surprise, we are heavily skewed towards Android. And this means that there is an opportunity for brands to adapt their messaging to make sure that the messages are native to this environment. When it comes to Philippines users specifically, and this is coming from, like I was saying, a ComScore study that we did in 2019, 34% of our audience is earning above the average wage. Couple that with the fact that most of them tend to female, and you'll understand why Viber becomes, let's say, a prime environment for shopping. Most of them are employed full-time. Most of them like receiving relevant offers and special offers through their messaging app. And more importantly, 72% of them like brands that like to interact, that can interact and chat with them directly. And if you remember from the previous slides, the average at industry level is around 56%, which means that us having a representation of 72%, it means that we have an audience that is even more interested in being able to contact brands through Viber. This is a question that we get asked a lot these days. What happened during the quarantine? Unfortunately, Philippines, as far as we know, it's a country that has been affected quite a lot by the lockdown restrictions, and this seems to be the case still moving forward. This is unfortunate for all of us everywhere around the world, but it's also true that when it comes to usage and engagement in Viber, this has absolutely exploded. So not only we had over 50% more daily registrations than we've ever had, but the number of messages sent in private chats, in one-to-one chats or group chats has completely exploded. Same for the number of phone calls. And of course, this led to an increased number of business messages being delivered as well. It's important, the number of messages, of course, and the number of phone calls, because not only they show the engagement, but these are, let's say, functions in Viber that are accompanied by also advertising opportunities. So we have some ad placements that are after the phone calls, and it means that the visibility of these ad placements have increased exponentially. And the same for the number of chats, where we have some very targeted ad placements that are in the main chat screen. And of course, the more users use the app, the more exposure the brands that are present there will have. And for the business messages, it's a one-to-one channel that brands have to interact with their consumers. So the fact that the volumes increase so much shows that there is an appetite to maintain this communication despite the lockdown. Now, when we came up with the idea of this webinar, it was because of the trends and the changes that we had seen happening for the last couple of years, and now with the COVID, but also because we acknowledge that brands have challenges that have been exacerbated with the pandemic. We all know that customers are receiving endless offers. We all know that the in-store audience has dropped. We all know that customers want to be able to contact the brand that they are interested in or they are working with at any time. So we wanted to offer the brands, the enterprises that we work with, a customer-centric approach. We wanted them to have a channel where they can be available 24/7 without the human cost that this implies, or rather with the most efficient and effective cost that this implies. And we wanted them to give value to the user experience and to be able to listen and hear what the customers have to say in an environment that remains safe, and it remains user-friendly, and it remains familiar to the customers. Because while it's true that a lot of companies have their own channels for users to communicate with, we all know that the adoption of native apps has dropped. And even us as consumers, we're not going to install an app for each and every business that we want to interact with. So if you can offer the same ease of use in one app that they are familiar with, that we are all using, the battle is half won. And remember what I was telling about the noise earlier. The crucial thing amongst during this time is to be able to cut through the noise. And you can only do that if you are able to appear and to stay front of mind to your customers and to be able to keep a communication channel open. So the solutions that we have launched and the solutions that we have, let's say, developed and continue to invest in will allow the brands to be as close to the customers as possible, ideally one single message away, one click away, if you want that. It will give the brands the possibility to be flexible with a tone of voice that they adapt and to be able to customize the messages. So Viber is not an advertising channel. It has advertising opportunities, but the most important for us, the most important thing for us at Viber is to provide the users with added value for their experience. So everything that we will do is user-centric, and the way that we are working with the brands is to allow them to customize the communication in such a way that each and every customer feels that they are getting one-to-one attention. And of course, we need to ensure that this is happening in total security, both for the users and for the brands. Which is why when I was talking earlier about solutions that will be able to cater for every step of the user journey, we're looking at, let's say, the four main functions. We're looking at brands that should be able to attract customers to join them. You can use ads, you can use stickers, you can use invite messages to have the existing customers, and more importantly, to be able to get new customers during this time when these new customers are not going to be able to walk into your shop, to connect with you and to join your channels. Once you have attracted them, we want to allow you to interact with the users. I think it's equally important to be able to talk to existing users as it is to be able to qualify a new audience and to understand who they are, what they want, what they are looking for, in order to be able to offer them customized offers, which ultimately will give you a better chance to convert them into paying customers, and will give them the chance to benefit from your brand's expertise and products. Transact, of course, we want to allow you to do business, but we want to allow our customers to do business with you. Anything from signing up to special offers, to credits, to new credit card applications, to ultimately, of course, finalizing a transaction. And once all this is done, we want to give you an opportunity to stay in contact with these customers, either through your CRM tools or with the real-time agents, depending on how the business is structured, depending what is most interesting and relevant for you and for your customers. So we want to give you as much flexibility as we can in order to effectively have all your operations happening in Viber without you having to waste time and money in investing in new channels. So outside let's say the advertising opportunities that I was talking about, ultimately what we want to offer brands is the opportunity to talk to the customers. And for that, we have developed several types of messages that you can send to your customers. Of course, we have the promotional messages where you can send them anything from dedicated discounts, offers, coupons, birthday celebration, etc., to transactional offers. So once somebody has signed up for a new credit card, like I was saying, or they have bought something from you, you can order them, or you can send them an order confirmation, a delivery tracking, registration, meeting reminder, whatever you need. And last but not least, the most important tool is conversations. I mean, it's great to be allowing you to send one-to-one messages, but it's even better if we offer a channel where the users can actually converse with you, where they can start a conversation, where you can have an exchange. And this exchange can be done with your customer support, be it a live agent or a bot. So depending, like I was saying, on the type of technology that you support. And it allows you to, of course, collect feedback and reviews real time, and to manage your services just as effectively as if this was happening in real time and in real world, sorry, in real world and in real time. And for that, so we have 3 types of messages: transactional, promotional, and conversation. And we have 2 types of integrations that we can offer. We have what we call the business messages API, which is can be plugged straight into your business. It basically allows you to have an alternative to the SMS, an alternative that is much more user-friendly because you have up to 1,000 characters, you have rich media, you have file transfers, you can send files to the users and they can send you files back if needed. Of course, there are a couple of other features that might be equally interesting, least of all, not also being able to pay for deliver messages, unlike for send messages as for SMS. So it gives you more flexibility and is definitely a lot more cost effective than the traditional SMS. And then we have a chatbot API where, of course, you need to build a chatbot and then launch it on Viber. But the chatbot effectively opens the door for you to attract a new audience. The Business Messages API, it's a tool that is meant to be putting you in contact with your existing customers. So it's the customers that have already opted in to receiving messages from you. Whereas the Chatbot API will give you the chance to reach a wider audience from Viber. It will give you the chance to qualify this audience because, of course, once they join your bot, you will not necessarily know who they are. So you need to understand, are they an existing customer? Are they a new customer? If they are a new customer, what they are looking for, what they are interested in. And from there, like we said before, convert them into paying customers. And then, of course, it offers you a number of features that will allow you to customize the user experience, from keyboards to the way you send the messages, the frequency of the messages, so on and so forth. So 3 types of messages, 2 types of integrations. They can work in parallel as long as you clarify what your main purpose is and who you want to talk to in priority. Business Messages and Chatbot API. And just to give you a quick snapshot of what these tools actually look like, this is an example of a Krispy Kreme bot that we had in Philippines a couple of years ago. As you can see, you have extreme, I would say, flexibility in customizing the bot in such a way that it matches your brand, not only image, but also behavior, expectations. So you can offer a customized experience from where you can push your product, you can push specific offers, you can actually transact as if the whole experience were happening in a shop. And actually the Krispy Kreme chatbot was very successful because we actually saw, they saw an increase in offline sales as a result of having a bot on Viber. And then when it comes to the business messages, so you're going to have, of course, a business info page. So when you start sending messages to your customers, and we all know that we tend to sign up for a lot of brands, you have a business info page where you'll be able to summarize what your company does, refresh the memory of the users, add contact details, extra contact details, opening hours if it's the case, or alternative contact methods. So just storefront window for your business. And from there, of course, you can start sending messages. So you can proactively engage with the customers. These messages can be one-way or two-way, meaning that the messages that the users can reply. If you need them, for example, to be home at a specific time for a delivery, and you want them to be able to customize the delivery time, so we should be able to answer back to say when it's the best time for them to receive the delivery. Or if you want to ask them for extra registration documents for a new product, you are able to do so. And of course, they come back to you. So all of this can effectively turn into a conversation where behind you have either a AI or a real-time agent that can manage the customer queries exactly like as if the exchange would be happening through a call center. So this is it from us. I hope it has given you at least a top-line understanding of how best you can use Viber as a business channel. And of course, if you have additional questions at the end of the webinar, we'll be very happy to take them. From now, I would like to pass it over to our partners, because they are the ones that probably know even better what the results look like. They are the ones that are in direct contact with the enterprises, and they had a chance to test Viber over and over again. And I'm sure that you will find their insights extremely relevant and extremely interesting, because you will have real examples of what it looks like and what it can do to be present on Viber.
Hi, everyone. So we'll just be passing over to Philip at PROMOTEXTER now. Thank you very much.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for the introduction. Thank you, Christine, for the comprehensive presentation. So good afternoon to everybody. I'm Philip Davis, the founder of PROMOTEXTER. So we've been operating since 2007 in Hong Kong and incorporated here in the Philippines in 2012. We're based in BGC in Manila, and we have 35 people locally dedicated to delivering relevant business messaging solutions to the local market. So back in 2007, when we launched, SMS really was the relevant messaging channel of the day. But today, messaging apps like Viber are changing and advancing that landscape. So here you can see our Viber campaign UI. This is one of our software as a service range of products developed and maintained locally and run on Amazon Secure Cloud. Customers are telling us that these easy-to-use campaign UIs and tools and our local support have really set us apart as their preferred provider. And as we heard from Cristina a short while ago, there's a growing demand for one-to-one customer engagement, which is served by our chat user interface that you can see here. And also our two-way APIs and integrations to third-party CRMs like Salesforce. So these are the tools which will allow you as a brand to utilize, make the most of Viber's comprehensive range of services. And that's what we're here for. So as a leading local Viber business messaging partner, we're seeing a lot of brands jump on board the Viber train almost daily. So here's a snapshot of some of the brands who have gone live already with Viber in the Philippines. And it's no surprise given really the delivery, the open rates and the click-through rates that they're seeing. So I'm not going to go on much longer. I just really want to take the opportunity now to move on to the case studies, the Viber success stories, let's say. And we have with us today QuadX and Metrobank, who both have successfully implemented Viber business messaging into their marketing mix. So first I'd like to hand over to S.I. Karubin, Head of Growth and Acquisition for Shipping Cart at QuadX. S.I.?
Yes, thank you, Philip. Thank you for having me, and a pleasant afternoon to everyone in here. Again, my name is S.I. Karubin. As mentioned, I am from QuadX, and under QuadX, I am with our Shipping Cart service. As the Head of Growth and Acquisition for Shipping Cart, I look for ways and means to grow our base in every location we are present in and expand to. So for those who are not familiar, Shipping Cart is a cross-border web-based delivery service from the US and UK to the Philippines or Malaysia. Essentially, we enable international shopping in the US or anywhere in the Europe that delivers in the UK. The user just have to make sure to have their parcel sent to the Shipping Cart warehouse address. From there, once we receive your package, Shipping Cart offers free consolidation of multiple items coming from different e-commerce sites. And the good thing is that we deliver straight to your doorstep, so no need to worry about going out and picking up your package in some delivery hub. So for this afternoon, I'll be sharing two cases with you wherein we effectively used Viber in our marketing campaigns. So for our first case, it's all about growing our newly launched UK service. Shipping Cart UK was just launched last year. That's 2019. And since then, month on month, we have been struggling to get more customers to try out shipping from the UK. But the thing is, Filipinos are just more inclined to shop in the US. In fact, more than 80% of our transactions are coming from the US. For our solution, we ran interest-based campaigns through Viber. We sent out targeted messages to all our US customers who haven't tried UK shipping yet. The group was further segmented based on their interests. To make the targeting and creatives more hardworking, relevant content was served to each group by highlighting a trending item in the UK linked to their interests. So when the documentary about Michael Jordan entitled The Last Dance first aired here in the Philippines on Netflix, we noticed that Air Jordan orders spiked in our UK warehouse. We took advantage of this and quickly sent out a message about Nike and other cool sneakers to our base of US customers who have bought shoes in the past. Another trend that we latched on is the gentle monster sunglasses or shades. Well, we all know that Korean dramas are super big here in the Philippines right now. And with the rise of popular K-dramas, the sale of Gentle Monster in the UK also followed. These were actually the eyeglasses that were worn by actors and actresses in Crash Landing on You, or what we easily call as Chloe, a Taiwan Class, and The King, to mention a few. We then promoted this item to fashion enthusiasts. We also came up with other messages about trending items in the UK in the following categories: maternity and baby items, toys and gadgets. Yes, even during the pandemic, we Filipinos are actively shopping for toys and gadgets. But the results were beyond amazing. Of all the US customers that we were able to reach via Viber, a big 25% made the purchase in the UK. This contributed 33% of our total UK transactions for 3 months. In terms of our KPI, we were able to hit this by 187%. This actually helped grow our UK transactions by more than 300% versus same period last year. On the right side of the slide, you actually see the sample of the sticker campaign that we did. As you can see, we made sure that the Air Jordan was highly visible. We also included an Adidas shoe in the image, yet another crowd favorite, to entice shoe fanatics from the image itself. So that's for our first case study. We now move forward to the second case. For our second case study, this challenge will always be our main consideration: to drive conversions from our customers at the lowest possible cost. I think most company will have this challenge, or will always have this challenge. Even before the pandemic, we have already been in a lookout for a media channel that can better address our existing user base. We have a different goal depending on the classification of the customer. It may be to push awareness or visits for non-users, trial for first-time users, and repeat checkouts for active customers. To achieve this, what we did was very simple. We created different communication campaigns per customer category while taking advantage of Viber's call to action button. For non-users, we drove them to a page with information on how shipping cart works. For first-time users, we landed them to a page with a listing of active trends and promos. For active users, we gave them ideas on what to shop for. Since the campaign was run during the onset of the lockdown, we gave them options for quarantine home essentials that they can get from the US or UK. And thanks to Viber's massive reach to our tech-savvy users, its high open rate and high click-through rate, we were able to find our best paid communication channel so far. With the Viber campaigns that we ran for different segments, we were able to get better performances for all our goals. So for non-users, cost per visit is 47% lower. For first-time users, cost per trial is 40% lower, while for active users, cost per checkout is 20% lower. That is comparing to the other paid channels that we are using. To sum it all up with the two cases I shared, it all boils down to relevance. A relevant channel that has high reach, at least for our current base and target audience, good open rate, and highly visible image and call to action button. Of course, you should always have a relevant message to your audience. And the thing is, we also have a relevant platform like PROMOTEXTER, which allows us to easily experiment and measure the costs and performances of our campaign. And in Codex, we're all about data. All actions, all decisions, and all insights are backed up by data. So that's it for me. That's it for my two cases. I now turn you over to Jel Zhao, Sales and Marketing Manager for PROMOTEXTER, for the next case. Over to you, Jel.
Very well said and impressive numbers you showed there, Isai. So hello there, everyone. Please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Jel Hao, and I am the Sales and Marketing Manager of PROMOTEXTER. So just one thing that you guys need to know about me. I have been living and breathing marketing since the beginning of my corporate career, and I have been very lucky to get to experience the whole spectrum of marketing, starting from the physical or traditional marketing that consists of events, press releases, product seeding, and launches, to what we now call as digital marketing that comprises of SEO, social media, and of course, online messaging solutions. So today I am honored to present to all of you our client that has been in partnership with us in PROMOTEXTER the longest, Metrobank Credit Cards. Existing for over 58 years now, Metrobank has become the premier universal bank among the financial institutions in the Philippines by aiming to deliver meaningful banking to Filipinos nationwide. The limitation of the case study that I am about to present to you is within Metrobank credit cards that includes all consumer business sectors such as credit cards, auto loans, and home loans. So MCC, or which I will be referring to throughout this presentation, acknowledges the market's appreciation and preference towards messaging applications nowadays. The goal is to increase qualified customer engagement rate without sacrificing business efficiencies, meaning savings and expenses. So the main challenge entails searching for channels to have their customers register effectively for their promotional campaign, My Swipe, My Treat, and reward the right and loyal customers, and at the same time, avoid rewarding freeloaders. So as a solution, they decided to communicate where their audience actually are or what platform they prefer to receive messages from. And of course, it is obvious that it is no other than Viber. So it is important to also note that in the financial industry, trust is crucial between a bank and its customers. And MCC preferred to use their Viber business channel that allowed them to customize and target their campaigns to be received by their cardholders through an official Viber ID. The initial intent of this effort is mainly for customer experience, since it is part of their three key pillars, where they please to be, quote unquote, customer obsessed. MCC enhanced their communications, opting for all of their campaigns to be in Viber plus SMS fallback mode that allowed them to reach 100% of their base in a single campaign using one file and a streamlined process through the PROMOTEXTER dashboard. So in terms of business efficiencies, which I mentioned earlier, it was also notable that their finance department has been very, very supportive of their Viber efforts as an expense. So MCC pointed out some points on why they chose us. First is because PROMOTEXTER platform allowed MCC to navigate through the technical or back-end processes with ease. and the custom dashboard that PROMOTEXTER provided was intuitive and user-friendly with key features that allowed them to track data from monitoring costs to analytics. So taking a look at the results of the My Treat, My Swipe Viber campaign, which you can see on the right side in the mobile interface, MCC saw an increase in their response rate, high at 30 to 35%. This is, of course, in consideration to other paid communication channels that they were utilizing, such as SMS, email, and social media. But as these channels remain constant, it is plausible that Viber has attributed the increase in this registration. So this helped MCC's usage team to measure the true indication of customer response rate and gave MCC efficiency in rewarding their customers. We also noted that more than 50% of MCC's base had been or is on Viber, and that we have observed a continued increase of trend in terms of penetration rate. So this is from their initial blast at 29% to the highest at 42%, considering omnibus campaigns, or in other words, their total cardholder base and targeted campaigns. So to learn more about how Viber's call to action button is actually the ultimate driver to sales conversion, please do visit our insights page at promotexter.com, because we do have informative blogs to share with you in maximizing your business communications. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you so much for that. And now we will pass on to our partners at INFOBIP for their next section. Thank you very much.
All right.
Charista, you were muted for a second there. If you could kindly start again, that'd be perfect. Thank you very much.
Okay, so how about now?
That's great. And if you could maximize the slide, please. Thank you.
Okay, hold on for a second. There you go. All right. So INFOBIP is a global cloud communication provider. And with Viber, we were partners since 2015, and we were the first one as first of the few Viber business message partners globally. We've started with a small office back in Croatia, and now we've grown our footprint to over 60 offices globally. And right now we're housing BGC for our 50 to 60 employees locally here in the Philippines. With our industry experience, we know that the key business challenges today, especially during this pandemic, is to empower your customers to meet the needs safely, improve customer experience with relevant services and personalized engagements, and continuously drive business growth. With the solutions that INFOBIP has, we enable communications at every touch points on your customer's channel of choice. Whether it's moments, answers, or conversations, these are all the latest SaaS solutions that we're offering to our customers now. Okay, moving to my first winning story here from Marketing Convergence. Marketing Convergence, or as we know as SM Advantage Card or SMAC, they're the largest loyalty rewards program here in the country under the SM Group. So the challenge before was they had a difficulty with establishing or availing promotions to their users, SMAC card users, to convince their customers to redeem points. And due to this, they're just using SMS and as a communication channel. And that was just a very limiting communication channel that they can have, because it only has a limited characters and just leaves little to no space for images or wordy prose to capture the attention of the recipients. So the problem here is that also the client is using email, which had a lot of inaccuracy or inactive customer addresses, and mostly are using personal emails that got very low click rate. So with a lot of images that they send to their email campaigns, it also gets the tendency to be blocked or tagged as a spam. With Viber Business Message, this is something that's their branding had significantly improved. They were able to capture the attention of their customers by providing more value to their campaigns by adding images, interactive buttons, and the virtual or the verified logo that they had. They were able to measure the success of this customer engagement and satisfaction by up to 40%, which lead to conversion rates of up to 30%. And finally, that campaign or their marketing cost has cut down significantly to 40% over the span of this campaign that they started with us for the past 2 years. So we're really happy with this special case with marketing convergence, and they're continually growing the engagement with their customers. And through this pandemic, they've helped open up a better communication and targeting with their customers. So we're really proud of this winning story with marketing convergence. And I'm also happy to showcase here another winning case that we have for Primer Group of Companies. Primer Group of Companies is one of the biggest and fastest growing and formidable retail names in the retail industry, carrying more than 150 global brands in under their belt. And one of their brands we're going to be featuring today is BradPack. So with BradPack, the company's goal is to provide alternative and safer avenue for customers to buy their needs during the lockdown. And we know that the government has mandated malls to be operated in a limited capacity, and that made a huge impact on their store sales as well as with their customer engagement. That also forced them to close their brick and mortar stores, and that really significantly affected their operation. The solution here, the company initiated a tactical campaign through online vouchering. This was an effort to maximize the usage of their customer base and the engagement they had with them to acquire more potential sales. And with this one, Primer Group also has a very rich customer base coming from all their brands that they have. And with this, they needed to further expand their engagement and take full advantage of the use cases and the data engagement that they have to convert and grow their business. So the results here is really converting or having a big jump of code redemption to 53%, which made a significant effect on the total sales target that they achieved of about 401%. This really is a big number that they have shared with us, and they're really happy with this one. And even with this pandemic, they were able to provide us a really significant increase in number in terms of engagement. And the code redemption had made this efforts of these tactical campaigns that they have to convert this to an actual sales and be able to continue with their business and grow their business even during this pandemic. Through this, it's a very short story that INFOBIP wanted to share, and we had a lot of success stories we had in here, but we just wanted to share with you all these successes during this pandemic and how INFOBIP had contributed and able to provide solutions to the companies. And feel free to reach out to me for any questions, and we will help you enable your business and get it running as soon as possible. So thank you so much, and have a great night.
Thanks again. And now we will head over to the Q&A section. So the first one that I have here is, can Viber business messages be integrated with a bank's central banking system so that transaction alerts and notifications can automatically be sent via Viber to a bank's customers?
Thank you, Johnny. Yes, actually, this is one of the main purposes why we develop business messages, because like I said, we wanted to offer enterprises an alternative to SMS while still having the, let's say, peace of mind that their message will be delivered no matter what. We do tend to work with a lot of banks. You've heard it a little bit earlier. And the purpose is to allow banks to send the notifications via Viber first, meaning that when you're integrating the Viber, you can integrate through one of the partners a fallback to SMS. If for whatever reason the Viber message is not delivered, this message can still be delivered as an SMS. The advantage is that, of course, you only pay once. You only pay for the message, for the channel that has actually delivered the message. So like I said, Viber charges for delivered messages, not send messages, unlike SMS, meaning that if for whatever reason we do not deliver the message, you will not be charged. And of course, ultimately, the message will still reach the customer. So yes, and we encourage actually banks, but not only, to have a mix between transactional and promotional, because of course, if you're only sending promotional messages, users will perceive this as purely an advertising channel. So having a healthy mix between transactional and promotional can ensure the best engagement.
Thanks for that, Cristina. The second question I have here is, can there be a fallout option wherein a notification is first sent via Viber, and if not delivered within a specified time, likely to be a few minutes, the message is automatically sent through a telecom's SMS system?
Yes, this is exactly what I was saying the first time around. The order of a messages is set up in a waterfall, so you can choose which message gets delivered first to each channel. Typically, what we tend to see is that there are native app notifications first, after which Viber messages, after which SMS, which means that whichever channel doesn't deliver the message, there is a fallback to the next channel.
Thank you very much. How can I market my products through Viber, and would it be that cost efficient?
Well, that cost efficient, it all depends on what you're paying today. But ultimately, like we showed during the presentation, you have different channels that allow you to not only market with pure advertising campaigns through ads and stickers to the wider Viber audience, down to send the targeted campaigns, one-to-one campaigns, customized messages, depending on what the users are looking for. A typical flow would be, let's say that a brand wants to expand their customer base with Viber users. So what they will do is to run an advertising campaigns where they place ads on the different ad placements that we have, which we can, of course, target based on the profile of the audience that you are looking to reach. In parallel, they tend to launch a sticker campaign as well. The stickers, which we didn't speak about them specifically in this webinar, but Philippines is one of the countries that has the highest appetite for stickers. I mean, we tend to send in Philippines alone over 2 billion stickers per month. The users tend to send them, of course, between themselves. Just to give you an idea, a stickers is on average shared. One user is sharing a sticker on average with 11 other users. So imagine the virality of a campaign. So brands launch ads, brands launch stickers. The sticker pack is linked to a chatbot behind, meaning that the users that have downloaded the sticker pack are redirected, become subscribers to the bot. All this while being made aware of it, so we don't do it behind their back. They are made aware with a pop-up that you are about to join the chatbot. And then from the chatbot, like I was saying, you can send the users messages to understand who they are, male, female, what they are interested in. And from there, you can actually send them customized messages. Let's say that you have a female user that is interested in, I don't know, shoes. So you say, okay, so this is our latest collection. You send them a link or you send them a specific product. They are interested in it. They click, they go through the user flow. They put the pair of shoes in the cart and then they abandon the cart. Well, what you can do from the bot is that you can send them a message the next day, for example, or the next 2 days, or whenever you want, saying, hey, we've noticed that you've put this pair of shoes in the cart. Are you still interested in buying it? And then, of course, depending on your marketing strategy, you can couple that with some customized offer. So you can say, if you buy until the end of the day, or until the end of a week, or you have now a special discount. So you can customize not only the message, but the promotion as well. And this is linked to actually one of the questions that we have received in the list as well. So I'm going to skip a little bit, from a director of a retail company that wanted to promote their messages through Viber, and they want to know what the advantages of this are compared to promoting products in the Viber community. So Philippines is very specific, because communities in Philippines are used as effectively stores. We know that a lot of retailers are promoting their products through communities. Communities is a very good channel as well, but it's a channel that covers the communication of one-to-many, meaning that, of course, you're gonna broadcast messages to all the people that you have in a community. But what you're missing then is the one-to-one aspect. And I doubt that in your store you have shop assistants that are going to stand up and all of a sudden start shouting offers to all the customers in the store. So you still need the one-to-one interaction. The best thing to do would be, okay, you have a community, you promote products in community, but you use a chatbot behind in order to actually finalize the transactions, because you can understand, like I was saying, what the customers are looking for, what type of products. And because we are actually now also introducing payment options in the bots, you can finalize the entire transaction through the bot. So you can sell the product directly from the bot. And if you use them in parallel, they will complement each other, and it will mean that your conversion rate will go up, just because, of course, when you're entering in a one-to-one exchange with a customer, you are more likely to finalize the transaction.
Many thanks for that, Cristina. How cost effective is Viber compared to other social messaging channels?
I'm going to invite our Director of Messaging Solutions, Etienne, to answer this question. He hasn't been formally introduced, but I think you've heard a lot from me, so I would like to give the stage to some of my colleagues as well.
Hi, nice to meet you all. Usually, Viber is definitely cost efficient. Some example from our panelists show you some of our results. Our pricing being on the deliver-based message for promotional and transactional message, where we tend to be very competitive compared to SMS rates or other solution in the market. And the engagement behind being strong, the return in investment is good and effective for the brand. Our partner from PROMOTEXTER, INFOBIP, can also give their point of views, as they're also working with other social media and can compare our result to other platforms.
Yeah, hi, this is Philip from PROMOTEXTER. So it's hard for us to do a direct comparison with social media in terms of, say, Facebook advertising, that kind of communication, or Facebook posts. But what we definitely see from our client base is that Viber is the most highly demanded or requested messaging channel. So for business messaging purposes, Viber is always the first to be requested. Sometimes there's requests for other channels, but they don't necessarily have the same functionality. So often you'll find, obviously WhatsApp is popular worldwide, not as popular in the Philippines as Viber, but still there's a base. But the benefits of Viber tend to be that you can do pretty much everything. You can outbound blast to your opted-in customer base, which you can't do with WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger, for example. So in terms of interactions with your existing customer base, Viber has a distinct advantage. And then when it comes to the communication, well, as I say, the penetration of Viber is very high in the Philippines, particularly in the metro areas, so Metro Manila and Cebu, and therefore very popular also for two-way conversational messaging as well. Hope that answers your question.
Yeah, this is SI from Codex, if I may also add. So as you can see earlier, I shared how Viber is performing better than our other communication platforms, but we don't really compare Viber with Facebook because the function is different. It's been being said since a while ago, Viber can do one-to-one communication. For Facebook, that's not something that we can do. It's always broad blasted. So in terms of comparison, I suggest to compare Viber with SMS, with emailer, because that's how we do it for our company.
Hi guys, just to also add with what Philip said earlier and SI. So I'm just going to speak on a macro perspective. So we all do know in a marketing standpoint that the long-term effects of marketing plays a huge role in successfully riding out a recession. So brands should be thinking about long-term brand building, and some do suggest that this requires focus on customer service and current customers or existing or recurring customers. And this is where PROMOTEXTER and Viber comes in. So for the brands who actually look at the lens of behavioral science, where as of the moment, fear and anxiety is still rampant, the implication to communicate effectively, positively, and proactively is definitely key. So the concept of customer lifetime value has never become more important than before. So that's why brands should be aiming for reach and awareness in order to be on top of mind when the time to purchase comes. And there's a research that supports this, that 91% of effectiveness is really due to reach. And with Viber's SMS fallback, this guarantees you 100% reach to your customer database. That's all. Thank you.
Many thanks for that, everyone.
There is a question that came in anonymously about, you mentioned earlier a healthy mix of transactional and promotional. From our research, we needed to split our ID into two, one for transactional and a different one for promotional. Is this correct? Or can one ID handle both promotional and transactional messages? This is clearly from somebody that is using business messages. So for a wider audience that is not aware of this, what we are doing is that when you're sending business messages, we are providing now one ID from where you can send both transactional, promotional, and actually conversations as well, so sessions, meaning that the user will see only one business entity communicating with them. We've decided that this is better from our research because, of course, not only the customer, the user can have a history of the messages that are being sent, so they can scroll through the list of messages and they see what you as a company have sent them, but also users are perceiving this as more effective because the more different senders you have, the more overwhelmed you are with number of messages. So by combining all the IDs into one, they mix promotional, transactional, and conversations. They are less likely to unsubscribe if, for example, one day they decide they don't want to receive certain promotional messages anymore, or they don't remember that they signed up to receive messages from a certain brand. And it's optimizing the whole user experience. So yes, so now you can use one ID. This is very important because if you have a bot, the bot will have a second ID. So it means that the user can have a clear picture between the, let's say, a customer care channel, that would be the business messages, and the promotional channel that can be the bot. I think there is also a question that one of our partners could answer about the SMS fallback. Somebody is asking if they can set a cap on this because they would like to set out a budget per campaign. So maybe somebody can answer this as well.
Yeah, hi there. You can set a budget for the campaign, but not specifically for the SMS fallback part. You either activate SMS fallback, or you can run the Viber campaign without SMS fallback. Is optional. So when you run the campaign, I'm not sure if it was covered, but Viber charges for delivered only. So it makes sense to use a Viber first strategy, where you try to reach all of your customer base through Viber first. If you can't reach them through Viber, then it can fall back to SMS if you've activated it. But as long as you know your target base size, you know you can budget for that campaign. So that's really the beauty of Viber. They won't bill you for just sending, whereas the mobile operators charge us, and therefore we have to charge the brands just for sending a text message, whether it delivers or not. So I hope that answers your question.
All right. So also, if you may allow me to add, going back to Johnny's question earlier, whether how will our clients can maximize the features of Viber, just let us know. You can contact us at sales@promotexter.com. We can give you a free trial. We can also give you free credits to play around the platform and see to it yourselves. And of course, going back to the question, it all boils down to the creativity of your marketing, honestly. If you may allow me to probably share your personal story, I do have this marketing professor of mine in graduate school who asked the class this trick question, whether marketers should create the demand or marketers should follow the demand. And as we all know, right now, the behavior of consumers or customers are most likely to cut back in luxuries, entertainment, and leisure activities. And so I bet that it is really up to us as marketers to create that demand. And so if you would allow me to emphasize on my takeaway, that as marketers, our social responsibility is to really let our brands create demand in order to counter slowing the growth of our economy. It's time to stop marketing in ambiguity, if you will, like the billboards and print ad placements, which I'm not really dissing about, but rather start doing marketing that is measurable, identifiable, and scalable with Viber business messaging through us in PROMOTEXTER.
Many thanks for that. If there are any further questions that Cristina, you would like to tackle in the Q&A panel?
If there are questions, we're very happy to answer them. We're always happy to hear from our clients and from potential partners. So feel free to send your questions. I know I've replied a couple of one telling you to send us a message, but we're very happy to discuss them as well. So do let us know what you would like to do. Okay, I think that there is a question that Etienne can help with. Can we integrate a web-based store with a Viber chatbot so that Viber users can see all the items in the web-based store? Etienne, do you want to take this?
So on our bot API, so there are several message formats available, and one of them is what we call a rich media carousel. That is allowing brands to display a card that includes a picture, a video, a text, and also a call to action buttons with an URL. So, for instance, with the chatbot, as you can also customize the keyboard of the users, meaning you can include some buttons that will help the user to navigate inside the chatbot. You can include buttons where if the user is clicking on it, it will display a list of products that you would like to sell, and directly in the chatbot, the user can browse it natively. In case, let's say, your list is very long and you want to offer the user like your full list of products, you can still the button on the chatbot can still open your result in a web view, so that you can display more options. It really depends on it will depend on the number of items you want to show and the overall user experience you would like to have in your bot.
Thanks, Etienne. There were several questions around running ad campaigns in Viber and who best to contact about this. So for pure advertising campaigns, we have a sales team on the ground that you can contact. Unlike other tech providers, let's say, For now, we don't offer a dashboard just because we offer a dedicated account management team that is normally managing and dealing with all the client queries once the campaign is live. Once the campaign is live, there is another question asking what data insights are going to be provided to us clients when we run an ad. And of course, you have all the typical KPIs. So you know the number of impressions, you know the number of clicks, you know the CTRs, you know the CRs. We basically can offer you full stats into visibility. Also, as mentioned before, there are a number of targeting options that we can apply on segmenting the audience, bearing in mind that the way that we collect this data is only from the public activity in the app, meaning that we never have access to the conversations or to the exchanges that the users are having between themselves or the users are having with the brands through business messages, for example. This was another question that was asking us, how do we ensure that we keep the transactional data safe? Well, similar to the one-to-one interaction between the users, our servers never have access to this information because they are not stored or seen by us. So the targeting options that we do offer are based on public activity, meaning the type of communities that the users will follow, let's say the type of chat extension that they would be using, the type of stickers, and from there we infer their interest and we provide targeted advertising. However, if you are looking to run business messages campaigns, we encourage you to work with one of our key partners on the market. I think there is a question for you there as well on how best to differentiate between the partners. We can tell you that from our perspective, the partners that we have in Philippines are the best ones that we have, let's say, had the pleasure of working with in Southeast Asia. They've been with us for a long time, and you can rest assured that whoever you are choosing, you are going to be in the best hands. It's important to work for one of our partners for business messages because you will be able to use their fallback to SMS capabilities, and of course, given that the integration with BAM is already done, it will be a much easier and smoother process for you.
Okay, excellent. I believe we may be coming to the end. So we'll finish up by saying that customer relationships don't have to be complicated. Looking forward to hopefully working with as many of you as possible. Please do send any follow-up questions, any issues, any concerns to the email on this slide here, messaging@forbusiness.viber.com. Really hope that everyone who's joined has found it useful. Hope you've got and taken some useful learnings from there. We look forward to welcoming you to another event soon. And until then, from myself and the panel, thanks again for joining us so much, for taking the time out of your day. Please stay safe, and we'll be in touch in due course with next steps. Thank you so much.